what we now know as Centenary Square. When did it first develop as a civic centre in Brum?
Well, before the centenary of Birmingham as a city, it wasn't known as Centenary Square.
Oh.
There was a square here
Yes.
at the back, to the side of it. Well, at the back was Bingley Hall, and over there was still some old factory buildings. But what happened was, in the 20s, the council decided they wanted a civic centre.
Right.
Baskerville House is the only symbol of that civic centre, but they started to clear lots of factories, and the first sign of that was the Hall of Memory. The Hall of Memory was built on land that had been industrial. Over there would have been the Eagle Foundry originally, where the Exchange building is now, which became the Municipal Bank. Behind that was the original main Cadbury's factory in Bridge Street.
Ah, the first big Cadbury's
First
factory.
major factory. Broad Street was probably the most important single manufacturing street in Birmingham, because here we had a great factory that's tied into the screw trade, Nettlefold and Chamberlain.
Chamberlain's, yes.
Yes, originally just
GKN.
Yes.
And those factories, of course, now have been demolished, and we've now got a great civic centre, and we've got some great civic buildings.
I think what you've got is several stages to Broad Street. You've got the rural stage,
Yeah.
when it's countryside, and you've got, towards the end of that stage, one or two large houses where wealthy people are living. Then you've got the coming of the canals and the transformation of the Broad Street area into a really important manufacturing centre. Then from the 20s, you've got the development of Broad Street as a civic centre and a shopping centre. What seemed to happen to Broad Street in the 70s and early 80s, it seemed to decline, and the canals were a mess. And so I think the revival of Broad Street then is another stage. The building of the ICC on the old Bingley Hall.
Yeah.
By now, the Repertory Theatre's also moved here. And then you get the development of Broad Street, not only as a golden mile for restaurants and bars and clubs, but just behind those restaurants, bars and clubs, you've got the development of banking facilities.
Well, yes, and banking has been a very big facet of the Westside area. We think of it as been a place of fun and revelling and what have you, but we got major banking interests down here. I mean, having HSBC, non-commercial banking headquarters moved out of Canary Wharf. Deutsche Bank is located here.
One of the things I would like to see, there's nothing in central Birmingham, and even here, Mike, to remember the poor that live behind the shops in the back-to-backs of this area.
Well,
There was a lot of poverty around here.
I'm sure, yeah.
And we need to really, in my opinion, we need to acknowledge the vitality of the poor that lived around here and elsewhere.
And do stay with us, because later in the programme, I will be meeting the man behind Birmingham's fabulous Centenary Square.